responsibility of Kaduna State government to protect the life and properties of the people of our state.
Nigeria's internal security architecture receives operational boost as the Nigeria Police Trust Fund intensifies capacity building.
Court sacks Julius Aburi, Labour Party chairman.
Good morning, Nigeria. Today we shall examine issues in Kaduna abductions and much later review curbing terrorism financing in Nigeria.
Nigeria police has confirmed that a group of worshippers were abducted from 3 churches and on Sunday morning in Kumi Wali, a remote part of Kaduna State, after previously denying it.
That's right. Now, local residents named some of those churches, 2 of which include the Cherubim and Seraphim, and 1 from the Evangelical Church Winning All, that's Ekwa. They also put the figure of abductees at 177 worshippers, while 8 were said to have escaped later.
Police spokesperson in Kaduna Command, Benjamin Udey, said earlier statement was not a denial of the incident, but a measured response pending confirmation of details. And
on Monday, Kaduna State Police Commissioner Mohammed Rabiu had, told journalists that he received a report that 300 persons were kidnapped in Kumi Wali, but after sending officers and security operatives, that there were no evidence to suggest the kidnap happened, and challenges anyone to list names of these victims.
Security experts say corruption, poor intelligence sharing, and underfunded local policing have hampered efforts to tackle the various security breaches.
So the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, in the northern region, Reverend Joseph Hayab, has criticized security agencies for initially denying the abduction of worshippers in Kaduna State.
In addition, Hayab argued that the initial denials had negatively affected rescue efforts. It is on this note that I welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria. I am Ademola Adeoye.
And I'm Claire Adilabu Abdulrazak. Thank you for joining us again this Thursday morning. And we are broadcasting live from our studios here in Abuja, the nation's capital. We will be joining Stella in Namiti for the morning news in a short while, but don't forget to join us also for the newspaper review much later. And like we said, we'll also be having a review of the terrorism financing, on this episode of the program. So let's get over to the newsroom. Stella in Namiti.
Hello, Claire and Ademola. Good morning. Here is the morning news. The families of the victims who were abducted during morning church service in Kuminwali village are asking the security agencies to intensify efforts in rescuing their people. The governor of Kaduna State, Senator Ubasani, who visited the village to sympathize with victims, says the security agencies are working hard to ensure their prayers and requests come to reality soon.
We have been collaborating with the relevant security agencies, both the military, the DSS, the police, and the Office of National Security Advisor, to ensure the quick return and recovery of our people that were abducted in this very important community. Every citizen of Kaduna State, whether it is only one person, we believe it is the responsibility of Kaduna State government to protect the life and properties of the people of our state.
Nigeria's internal security architecture is receiving a major operational boost as the Nigeria Police Trust Fund intensifies capacity building for officers and men of the force on counter-terrorism rapid response at the Police Mobile Force Training College, Nasarawa State.
We are committed to working side by side with the Nigerian police force, ensuring you have the tools and the support required to confront today's threats.
So what do we do? If we do operations, we have successful arrests, what do we do with them? How do we gain conviction? Because that's the end result of our operation. If we captured many who are disturbing us and we cannot successfully prosecute them, then we've done nothing.
And still on security matters, substantially, efforts on war against terrorism is gaining more momentum as a clear indication that the recent strategy adopted by the presidency to improve security is working. At a media briefing, an aide to the Minister of Defense, Aliyu Anas, said the fight against all forms of criminality will be sustained by the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, until peace returns to all parts of the country.
We urge the Shwari and the Barrister Diriton to immediately cease his own campaign of harsh and insulting and offensive verbatic language and against the person of General C.G. Musa and any other person or any other leaders and any other Nigerians that is ready to insult our leaders. We are not going to support that because both the religion, Christian and Muslim, did not support anybody to insult a leader. The only thing is to pray for them and then say what is needful and for the country, because we need peace in this our country.
And away from security, the Federal High Court, Abuja, has restrained Julius Abure from further parading himself as the national chairman of Labour Party and recognizing the Senator Usman Nainadi-led caretaker committee as the legitimate leadership of the party. Justice Peter Lifu, who gave the order, anchored the decision of the court on the April 4, 2025 verdict of the Supreme Court, which nullified Abure's claim to the position. The court therefore ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission to immediately accord recognition to the Nenadi Usman-led caretaker committee as the only lawful authority to act for and represent the Labour Party, pending the conduct of a national convention. The judgment followed a suit instituted by Senator Nenadi Usman challenging Abure's continued stay in office. Justice Lifu held that materials placed before the court clearly showed that Abure's tenure as national chairman of the Labour Party had expired. The court dismissed Abure's argument that the dispute was an internal party affair. The judiciary, as the third arm of government, offers a platform for anyone having disputes over a litigating matter to obtain judicial remedy. Judiciary analysts, however, observe that the duty of implementing judicial pronouncements lie within the ambit of court registrars. Hence, the Chief Justice of Nigeria is seeking visible improvement in their performance.
Each and every one of you in your various courts can think of innovative ways to make your job more effective and more efficient.
What was sufficient knowledge 5 years ago is inadequate today. I urge each of you to embrace continuous learning.
I recommend very seriously that a survey should be conducted to get very accurate feedback from the people we serve. What do they want us to do?
The three-man FCT Area Council's Election Appeal Tribunal has been put in place. The Appeal Tribunal under the Nigerian law serves as an appellate court for election disputes relating to the FCT Area Councils.
The moral authority of your Lordship's decisions will depend in significant measure on the perceived independence and integrity of your conduct. I therefore charge your lordships to maintain strict impartiality in the hearing and determination of all petitions, applications, and interlocutory matters. Justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be fairly done. You must uphold the right to fair hearing even under tight timelines. Each party must be afforded equal opportunity to present his case with the established rules.
And those are the news highlights. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Ademola and Claire after these messages.
TerraCube, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
With Nivea Dry Deo, you can keep moving forward in life with confidence. Nivea Dry Deo. Derma 72-hour active protection against sweat and odor with 0% alcohol to prevent irritation. Stay dry and fresh all day long. Skin is for moving forward, Nivea is for skin. Your favorite Nivea Deo, now in a smaller pack size.
You have no better friend and partner than Nigeria. Let this unveiling today be a call to conscience. Let our practitioners hold the line of truth. To the media, please inform with integrity and with a deep sense of patriotism. To our public officers, communicate with transparency. To citizens, please let us speak with empathy. Let us come together to become the voice of responsibility, the voice of the world that heals division, that inspires hope and drives development.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The FSRCC and NBC hereby advises the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Make sure to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on this website. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, SAC 0209-462-1168, 0916-772-3240. Let's work together to uphold the integrity of Nigeria's financial system. Announcer, FSRCC.
All right, welcome back to the program. Good morning, Nigeria. Thank you for staying with us. Coming up next is newspaper review.
Well, our newspaper reviewer is here, Chukwudi Okoli Wajaya. Yeah, Jokes, good morning.
I am here wholeheartedly as usual. How are you doing, Demo?
Oh, I'm doing great.
You like the diphthong that ended Demo? It should be Demola Beg. We're Africans. Claire, how are you doing?
Well, I'm okay, I guess.
Everything should be clear about Claire by now.
I love the Frenchman's way. Say, comme ci, comme ça.
Comme ci, comme ça.
So.
One day at a time. That's life. It goes on.
Yes. All right.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, thank you, Chukwudi. Welcome. So let's start with Daily Trust. Daily Trust, of course, is leading with Kaduna abduction. The denial that failed. That's how this paper captured what's going on in Kaduna State. And just below that, you have suicide bomber kills 5 soldiers in Borno. And at the foot of the paper, you have the LP crisis. Court orders INEC to recognize Nenadi Usman leadership. And fire guts 34 classrooms in Kanu School. Okay, that's just to take you above the nameplate. You have 2027, no appointments for non-APC members. 2027, no appointments for non-APC members. Nantawe, that's of course the APC national chairman. And NACON board members petition Tinubu, demand chairman's removal. That's from the Daily Trust. And let me quickly run through the Business NG. Business NG is talking about inflation pressure, pushing banks to raise wages as personnel costs top 644 billion naira. The NNPP tells Governor Yusuf to resign before defecting to the APC. And just let me bold this a little bit so I can see clearly. Okay. Federal government to scrap HND dichotomy, allow polytechnics to award degrees. And you also have the story trending. 66% of Nigerians earn 50,000 naira or less monthly, report shows, while 97.6% of Nigerians earn less than 200,000 naira. Again, I'd like to take that. 66% of Nigerians earn 50,000 naira or less monthly, while 97.6% of Nigerians earn less than 200,000 naira as wage. That's a Nigerian Army directs all personnel to submit NINs to access tax exemptions under new tax reforms. I think that's all from the Business NG. Demola.
Okay, this is, I have the Daily Trust newspaper, and just below that nameplate of the Daily Trust newspaper, 2027, no appointments for non-APC members, Netawai. That's the stories on page 12. NACO board members petition Tinubu, demand chairman's removal. The details of that story, it's on page 26. Then the major headline, it's Kaduna abduction, the denial that failed. Details of that story, it's on page 3, 4, and 5. Suicide bomber kills 5 soldiers in Borno. Details of that story, it's on page 6. And also we can see the picture, the front page picture of the bomb. The LP crisis, court orders INEC to recognize Nenadi Usman leadership. Fire got 34 classrooms in Kano School. Details on page 30. Media Trust Group launches digital newsroom. Chooks?
Anytime men and women who are in harm's way for our safety, anytime they meet an ordeal that takes life, I feel very bad about it. So this suicide bomber killing 5 soldiers in Borno is something that doesn't make me, feel good at all. It's really unfortunate.
Really.
In the theater of campaign, what happens is that you treat everything close to you as suspicious. You don't know who is who. And I think the army has been doing that. That's why cases like this have not been rampant. Even IEDs have been reduced considerably, so to speak. It's really unfortunate. More diligence, more carefulness. Let's go about it in a way that lives are preserved to the best way we can, to the best level we can. I'm not going to get, excuse me, sucked into the movie-like title they gave it and leave substance. That's talking about the denial that failed. To the Kaduna abduction. It sounds like a movie title there, the denial that failed. But the reality...
Actually, the police is saying it is not a denial, that they did not deny. What they said was that they were waiting for confirmation. so that's that was what they said.
Certain things should not be said. When you make a mistake in life, you accept you have made a mistake. You know? My people say, okay, gummy for me, adiabwa. When a man denies what he has done, he commits a second offense. You get it? They said the other time, yesterday, that there was a miscarriage in terms of the kind of information that went out. Today, we are trying to, it doesn't work that way.
You know,
we are talking about an ordeal.
They were saying that they couldn't get a confirmation, you know, when the incident happened.
What is the standard operating?
No, I'm not defending them. I'm just saying, I'm just stating what they said.
You know, in philosophy, when you say,
please, philosopher, talk to us.
When two negations, because this is denial of the denial.
Imagine. No, it's not palatable, please.
It's not. It's
not palatable.
Yes,
if you're wrong, you're wrong. Erring is human. To err is human.
After listening to the police PRO last night, I had to go back to the video.
And replayed it.
And replay what was said and what was not said. And there was a categorical reference to what happened there as an allegation, fabrication of, you know, whatever, and that people should not discredit the state government or security personnel, you know, for fabricating such whatever. Regardless, he also said that when they got there, there were no evidence to, you know, substantiate what happened. But if you didn't get the evidence, that does not mean that it didn't happen.
They said they were looking for...
I am beginning to doubt the relationship between the law enforcement agents there and the community. Because they are giving me the impression that the chasm exists between them. Otherwise, the first inquiry would give you an affirmation.
Chukudi,
do you understand where I'm going?
See, I understand.
I think there is a problem of trust here between the community.
No, but listen to my point.
Or maybe the abductors have said anybody that tells anybody that this happened, were they intimidated into silence? No, not when such a thing happens.
Chukudi, what you have just said, we also heard. I mean, that we cannot substantiate this. But what do you expect the police or security agencies to do when the local government chairman himself of that area said on TV that it didn't happen? When the commissioner for interior security or internal security of that local government said it didn't happen.
Well, Claire, that's a point. He is quite a top office holder there, the local government person.
Exactly.
But the way security forces operate is quite different from what the CV tells them.
You see?
They ignore what you say and engage their standard operating behavior or pattern of doing things.
Yes.
That's how security forces are. It's not that they don't trust you. They just have a way they work.
Though I believe we shouldn't,
anyway.
you shouldn't, you know, underscore what had happened there. They have come out to say, okay, yes,
it happened.
It happened. But we must not hesitate to interrogate, because this has just shown an aspect of investigation labs.
I am tired of comparing Nigeria to other climes. Let us live our own lives. No. Otherwise, there are places where this kind of thing happens and somebody's job is no longer secure.
Exactly.
You understand? But it's one of those things in our country. nothing is going to happen to that person apart from maybe.
Anyway, that's our conversation this morning.
Oh,
Good
it
morning,
is.
Nigeria.
Oh,
yes.
we're taking a good chunk of it.
Yes.
And
yes,
you allowed us go on.
Well. We just
It's part of the
we just
review.
need to just review it
Okay.
because it's a major issue.
Yes.
So that's why.
What do you make of Nantawe's remarks? You know, sometimes the papers tend to cut off
No appointment for
non-APC members. Nantawe, is there a point? Is it a message?
Yeah. No, it's politicking. It's politicking.
Simple.
It's politicking. What it means is, if you don't join us now, appointment not going to reach you. That is the first thing I read. Then PDP quickly rushes in to say, we'll take technocrats and professionals. You know, so they have further told you that it's about politicking. You don't take such things really too seriously. Yes, fine. We have to respect the national chairman of APC. He has made an important statement. But in real life, that's what's going to play out.
That's where I'm coming
in real life.
That's where I'm coming to, because there's been a lot of interpretation of, whether this was a direct message to somebody somewhere or to some people somewhere. Or
what politicians do is that even when they take you as a technocrat, they make sure you also become a card-carrying member somewhere down the line. But they know that they need professionals for certain jobs. They know that, and I think they try to accommodate them. So let them politic all they want to. Reality goes, stay everybody for face. Later.
Okay.
You know?
LP crisis, court orders INEC to recognize Nenadi Usman leadership.
And the first thing that jumps up is this court pronouncement going to work and be really something that brings finality to all of it?
Because there's an appeal already.
Exactly.
Fine. They've appealed. Yes. Fine. If they've appealed, that means that the court order has impact. The other people know that if they don't appeal, the court order stays. But the reason I said what I said is, why did it take them so long to get to pronouncing which of the factions is really the true representative of Labour Party? This thing has spanned 1.5 years, so to speak. Why did it take so long for a definitive pronouncement to come from the court as to who really heads Labour Party? One of those things you hardly understand.
I like us to, sorry, Demola, I like us to, for once, look at the sporting world, because there are stories. Of course, we know the big one is that some of our Super Eagles, players have made the team of the tournament, and all that. And of course, they include Bassi, Kevin Bassi, Osime, Lukman. But I was expecting more like that's the team of 10, more like, for instance, Iwobi.
If we had five out of 11,
and
I think it's
it will be. No, but Senegal has more.
No,
Senegal
Victor
has more.
Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Kevin
Senegal
Bassey.
has more. I think we have just 3.
If Senegal has more, if Senegal has more, Chukwudi will tell you that Senegal won the.
They won.
Won the tournament.
Is that the basis for?
Of course, it's
it has to be. It's not just
part of it now.
The teams that were bottom. Did you see the name of any of their players?
Because they're not on the ranking. It is. I think it is those on the ranking. On how many
The
goals?
ranking again talks about your performance.
Yes,
that's the point.
Yes,
But
anyway, congratulations to them.
Exactly.
Yes,
that's where I was going.
Yes. Then the other one is this is a part of sports we've never had. I mean, yet it's there, cycling. And I'm just told that there's a cycling federation rolling out its 2026 calendar of events. Can you beat that?
No, cycling is a very exciting sport. If the highways were still safe, a cyclist will tell you that when he cycles, he has time to watch nature.
Of course.
It's just like when I was GM of one station in Jos, in those days. I enjoyed flying that route in my best line, 504 best line. The greenery the flowers on the hillside, and they made you feel that you were just next door to God, nature. So cycling has always been a good thing. And remember, it helps you in terms of exercise.
Yeah, of course.
Even though the Ojomba Dwekwe,
It's a good exercise.
Ojomba Dwekwe experience is one that you don't want to happen to you. The man was, advocating cycling as a bicycle riding, and they wanted to show us what he meant. And the taxi driver nearly
But come to think of it, Chukwudi, come to think of it, he meant well.
We are comedians.
Chukwudi, come to think of it, just before we let you go.
Yes.
I mean, in Netherlands, even the Prime Minister.
There is order there.
That's Netherlands now.
Netherlands.
That is
Netherlands. You know, go here say
that is Netherlands now.
No,
Netherlands.
don't say that now. Don't
Claire,
say that.
you made a trip the other time, and you said that there was
Is Nigeria.
There was special.
That's
There was
Netherlands.
special reservation for where cyclists would use.
Even in China.
Isn't it?
Even in China.
Where is the special reservation?
That is
the one that Chukwudi go die premature death. I know they ride.
NOA keeps playing this jingle. Live by the citizens' code. Be a change maker. Don't keep saying we are Nigerians. No. What do you mean?
We are talking about
But this is
infrastructure
different now.
that allows you
We can change it.
ride the bicycle
Claire.
safely.
All right.
Where is the
Claire,
infrastructure?
All right. Thank you, Chukwudi. Bye-bye. All right. This is Good Morning Nigeria. We have said thank you to Chukwudi. So let's just take a short break.
TerraCube, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
Are you ready? Join us on Reshaping Democracy, a groundbreaking program on the network service of the NTA, where citizens get the chance to ask ministers, heads of ministerial departments, agencies, and other top government officials questions on their performance and delivery of mandates. With no sector of limits, conversations build around bridging communication gaps for feedback and effect as our guests engage with the people they serve.
How does ND foster partnerships with organizations, government agencies, NGOs, among others?
As our leaders give account to citizens' inquiries on good governance, tune in to Reshaping Democracy, a creative concept coming up every Tuesday evening at 10:05 p.m.
This is Reshaping Democracy.
Evie, you look worried. What's going on?
My big cousin in the university might have to drop out of school. He can't afford his school fees.
Oh no, that's not fair. Wait!
What is it, Tomiwa?
I remember my dad talking about something called NEL Fund. He said it could help university students pay their school fees.
NEL Fund? What is that?
Hey, Captain Excellence! Do you also know about NEL Fund?
Absolutely, Tomiwa. NEL Fund is a federal government initiative that aims to provide financial assistance to students pursuing higher education. NEL Fund not only gives money for school fees, but even school allowances, called stipends. It's the government's way of keeping their promise that no child will be left behind.
Really? You mean this Tinubu government?
Yes, now. You see, NEL Fund is a government loan that helps you pay for school, and you only start paying it back later, little by little.
Ha! It's a loan. Doesn't that mean my big cousin will be swimming in debt?
Not exactly. First, this loan comes with no interest. You only start paying back when you get a job. Even then, it will be just a tiny bit at a time.
My dad says it's just like what they do in other countries like America.
Wow! This is a great idea.
See? With a NEL Fund, everyone can go to school even if you don't have money. Look at those smiles.
Wow, that's amazing. I am going to tell my big cousin right now.
Remember, Nelfund is here to help every young Nigerian get the education they deserve. No child should be left behind.
All right, thank you once again for tuning in. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria and the network service of the NTA. And just before we introduce our guests for our conversation this morning, just a reminder, we are looking at interrelated issues. First, we'll go to Kaduna to look at what's happening regarding the Kaduna abductions and updates on what has been done. And then, of course, we will see how terrorism financing, what we're doing about it, how we can effectively tackle, the issue head-on. But before that, let's watch the background reports put together by our correspondent, Timothy Yusuf.
The recent abductions in Kaduna State are a concerning issue. Findings show that on January 18, 2026, armed bandits attacked churches in Krumin Wali Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State, kidnapping over 170 worshippers, including men, women, and children. The victims' names have been released, with 177 individuals confirmed to be in captivity. The attack has sparked widespread condemnation, with the Christian Association of Nigeria and other groups calling for swift action to rescue the victims. The Nigeria police initially denied the incident, but later confirmed the abductions, deploying tactical units to rescue the victims. Analysts believe that the incident highlights Nigeria's ongoing security challenges, with bandits and other armed groups frequently targeting villages, schools, and places of worship for ransom. The country's northwest and central regions have been particularly affected, with many communities living in fear of attacks. In the meantime, 11 kidnapped victims of grooming Wali in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State are reported to have escaped from captivity and returned home, while the governor of Kaduna State, Senator Obasani, had also visited the affected villages. What measures is the government taking to address the security situation in Kaduna and prevent future attacks? How can communities and organizations support the victims' families and advocate for their safe release? What are the implications of these abductions on Nigeria's security and diplomatic relations? For answers to all of these questions, over now to our guest on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Timothy Yusuf, for that background report and for those questions that you have asked. And I believe that our guest listened to those questions and they'll be able to prefer answers to all of them. Let me just, we have our guest already in the studio, and let me just introduce. First is Dr. Kabiru Adamu, Security Risk Management Expert, is with us here in the studio. Dr. Kabiru Adamu, it's good to have you again. Good morning and compliment of the season.
Thank you very much. Good morning and Happy New Year. This is the first time I'm here in this year.
This year.
That's true.
Yeah, it's the first time actually.
All right, we also have Dr. Dixon Oji, President, Global Network for Human Development, independent expert, arms control, disarmament, and international security and programs. He was coordinator of the former Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons, PRESCOM, and he joins us live here in Abuja studio. Dr. Oji, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
All right, let's kickstart our conversation. Yes. We're back to this
discussion. We have our guest in Kaduna. I hear he's ready.
Okay.
So we have Mohammed Ali. Mohammed Ali is joining us from our studios in Kaduna, and he's a security expert. I heard that's him. Madam Mohammed Ali, good morning to you.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll get back to him later. So let's just kickstart our conversation this morning. Dr. Adamu, I mean, we're back to this issue of security and the challenges that we're having in this country. For a long time, I mean, Kaduna has been relatively peaceful. I mean, until just 3-4 days ago when we had this abduction, although there was a denial, you know, but the police has denied the denial. So there is this challenge now. So, I mean, how does this impact the issue of trust when it comes to security issues in this country?
And I think that's the crux of the matter, that the trust between the government, the security agencies, and then the communities. In this instance, the first approach by the Kaduna State Police Command was to issue a statement. The statement, instead of being a placeholder, which is what public relations would have demanded, where you are uncertain, which was, I think, the case that the Kaduna State Police Command encountered. They said they had spoken to reliable sources within the communities that couldn't substantiate what happened. So what one would have expected would be a placeholder saying that, look, this incident has been reported, we are investigating. And that's a placeholder. Yeah. So that on the basis of the outcome of the investigation, you now say, well, we've been able to verify, or no, we've not been able to verify. But what we had, unfortunately, and this was on, you know, established media houses, the interviews were held with the commissioner, with the PRO of the police command, and it was a flat denial. But then the good thing is that they challenged the community, and again the representative of, remember it was 3 churches that were attacked. They also challenged the Christian Association of Nigeria, since it was churches. And then unfortunately, or fortunately as the case may be, the challenge was met. What was the challenge? Produce the names of the people who were abducted and substantiated, and the names were produced. So that kind of forced the police headquarters here in Abuja to issue a statement where, of course, they recalibrated and admitted that the incident did happen. So that trust deficit, which in the first place led to the denial, I think is at the center of the whole affair. Unfortunately, the incident, the denial, and then the way it was handled will not help that trust deficit. But I think there have been engagements. I'm aware that some officials of CAN have engaged with the police, and based on statements I'm hearing from them, it looks like some middle point has been arrived at. But what is, I think, crucial is that that engagement should continue so that the trust deficit is at least either dissipated or improved upon. I think it's also instructive to mention some of the steps that has been taken by the governor, the executive governor of Kaduna State. The fact that he has visited, the fact that, according to him, he has engaged with the top echelon of the Nigerian security apparatus, starting from the Office of the National Security Advisor, the Inspector General of Police, DG, SSS, Defense Minister. Those are all good steps. He has visited, engaged with community leaders, assured them that he will do everything within his power to ensure that the victims either released or rescued. Those are very good steps. I think the only thing, as far as I'm concerned, that is missing is who is going to be held accountable for allowing that incident to occur in the first place. Kajuru is not, it's a local government area. And as it were, it's a local government area that we've known over time is vulnerable to incidents like this. There have been several instances. I remember very well sometime around maybe 2016 or thereabout, when some individuals from here in Abuja on a weekend took just a weekend drive, went to Kaduna. There is a castle in Kajuru, stayed in that castle, and while they were there, bandits attacked that castle, and unfortunately the outcome was 2 of them were killed. So Kajuru is not unknown in terms of the vulnerabilities that are existing within communities in Kaduna State. And it's sad, I mentioned 2016, this is almost about 10 years, the fact that we're here discussing an incident that occurred in that place, it means we've not put in place measures to block those vulnerabilities. And in the course of our conversation, we can discuss those vulnerabilities that may have allowed such incidents to occur.
Absolutely. But I'd just like for us, because it's a very fundamental, I wouldn't say error or gap, when you find conflicting, reports from security agencies and community intelligence and all that. It's a fundamental gap that you need to address so that the public trust, that is already, been eroded will not further take it, a dive. And that's why, Dr. Oje, I'm just wondering, in security, ecospace, could denial, because sometimes they say in the corporate world, sometimes when you delay payment of salaries, it's a strategy. Could denial be a tactical strategy to avoid, panic and, maybe chaos? Or is it a reflection of that lack of synergy, lack of, coordination between local communities' intelligence and what you have between states? Because in this case, you had the local government chairman, you had the commissioner for internal security, all coming out to say, look, this is just a fabrication of, imagination of whoever is pushing out this narrative. And the police commissioner, and all that. So could this be a strategy, or is just this a coordination of intelligence failure?
Let me answer your question directly before I start telling other details. Denial cannot be strategy, because people need to know what is happening in the first instance to be able to help security agencies. I'm one person that believed, like we always say, security is everybody's business. We need to collaborate with government. We need to offer security agencies intelligence to do their work. And when you begin to deny an incident that happened, it doesn't build confidence. It erodes confidence of the people in the security agencies. Now, when such things happen, and then the denial didn't come from only one quarter, but from several quarters of people who should have been in a better position to coordinate the security and, bring the people to clear understanding of what government is doing, and then you leave them in the open, you keep denying until you ask them to go and verify to prove that this thing happened. It puts a big question mark on what the security agencies are doing. Let me also come to the issue.
Sorry, before you go,
yes.
Please hold your thoughts. Because the police PRO came out yesterday to say, no, the police did not deny. It wasn't a denial. Did you watch that video?
No,
have you watched it?
Have
you watched it?
Yes, I did.
How do you evaluate what was said? Does it amount to a denial? Or, I don't know.
So there was a denial. The commissioner of police, like I said, in Kaduna, the PRO, Public Relations Officer of the Police Command, was interviewed by reputable media houses, and it was a flat denial and a challenge, not like I mentioned. What the first PRO attempted to do is damage control. I mean, let's not shy away from it.
Okay.
And I think it's fine. You realize you've made a mistake, you've recalibrated, but admit to the fact that there was a mistake. And where necessary, in this case, I think it's absolutely necessary, correct it. Correction can be you can issue a query as an example. You can train the individuals in question. The Commissioner of Police in Kaduna was newly deployed. So perhaps we could give him that excuse, but then make sure there is an institutional mechanism for correction so that it doesn't happen again. Let's not forget that in Papiri in Niger State, the same thing happened. There was an initial denial by the state government and some security departments in Niger State, alleging or rather arguing that it didn't happen. And later, of course, they admitted to the fact. So that pattern of denial and then later admitting should not be occurring.
So it's not a strategy. Please continue.
Yeah, it's not a strategy. And then, what happens to the fact that we keep talking about police-public relations? What happens to the fact that we have military-civilian departments in some of these agencies? So if there's no synergy between the people and the security agencies, we'll continue to have this kind of situation. And don't forget that these things, it's not the first time it's happening in Kaduna State. So why are we always reactive instead of being proactive? Why are we not always able to counter these things before they happen? Why are we always, why is it that our security agents are always caught napping at every time this kind of situation comes up? And then it takes days and days and days putting civilians and the populace at a big trauma of having their loved ones in captivity for several days and several weeks. And now my worry really is not that this thing has happened. My worry is the reaction, because it's the reaction of the security agencies that will either encourage or discourage these people from repeating this same incident. Before long, if this kind of situation happens again, what do you now tell the people? What happens to that police public relations in our communities? What happens to that civil military relations in our communities? How do people have trust and confidence in security agencies to feed them with information? Sometimes I sympathize with security agencies though, but definitely denying things that happened is not a strategy. Let me also add that, you know, there's this saying that security agencies are like goalkeepers. You can stop 100 shots in one match, but the single one you let in could be the decider of the match. So, yeah, they are putting up a lot of efforts. We commend them for that. Okay. But this idea of denying an incident that's happened puts a big question mark on their own. Like they used to say, they're on top of the situation. It means they're never on top of the situation. Because if you're on top of the situation, you should know what happened in that community. You don't need to deny. You should be the one telling the people what happened, and not the other way around.
The CAN chairman there said the period, that moment of denial, that period could have been used
okay,
to, you know, at least do something tangible. So that's what I'm going to ask. How does that impact on early response mechanism?
You know, I think let's go to Kaduna now. I think
yeah, sorry, let's just, so that you start from Kaduna, let him just, so that he aligns with his thought. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, that immediate period after an incident happened is crucial. Just like we've seen in other instances of mass abduction. And I'm mindful of the fact that this is a live case, so there's not too much I want to say about it, but it's crucial that that immediate period we see the response. In the first place, don't allow it to happen. But if it does happen, make sure you utilize that immediate period. We're dealing with a group that has made large forested and frankly ungoverned parts of Nigeria their home. Their ability to take advantage and use those forested parts has been documented. So if we allow them, for instance, to go into that part, then the possibility of them dividing these individuals into groups, which now makes it even more difficult to either rescue or seek.
So you believe the time wasted
would have
cost more?
Of course. Now, but to be fair to the police, in that statement when they issued the challenge, they said they were conducting operations to ensure, no, not clearance, to ensure that the location is secured. Now, we don't know what that means. Perhaps
actually they said they deployed,
tactical. Yeah, but this was after the Fourth Command admitted to the fact. But when the commissioner was interviewed, he did indicate they were conducting operations to secure the location. Now, we don't know what that meant. It's possible that, yes, there was denial, but then he was still, in his words, conducting operations in that area. But I think it's also important to mention the methodology of the abduction.
That's what, we will come to that. So, I'm sorry, because the one wants to get to Kaduna.
Okay, let's get to Kaduna so that we can also have Mohammed Ali's perspective to this discussion of the abduction of worshippers in Kaduna. Mohammed, I know that you've been listening to the discussion so far. We're looking at the security response to this adoption, and many people have faulted it, especially with the initial denial and counter-denial by the police. How would you assess the effectiveness of Nigeria's current security strategies in particular in tackling, issues like this?
I think what has happened in Kurminwali, Kajuru local government is what at best I will regard as an act of intelligence failure, because since the last week of November, there are speculations that bandits that have entered into a truce with government in Katsina state are trooping quietly into Kaduna, particularly the axis of Chukun and Kajur local government areas, because these are the two prone local governments as far as the issue of banditry and kidnapping is concerned in Kaduna state. And I think some of the relevant authorities that need to do something have been prompted as to this development. But I think nothing was done until on the 18th of this month, when these people bulldozed their way into the church and abducted 177 worshippers and went away with them. Then people came about denying that there was no such abduction. It was after 11 out of the 177 were able to escape and came back home. That was when people now believed that, yes, the abduction from the church at Kurmunwali was real. And I'm happy the leadership of the church, in conjunction with the state secretariat of Khan, were able to give detailed names of each and every person abducted, including males, females, and children. So nobody can deny that. As such, first and foremost, our security services must accept the fact that there was an intelligence failure, so they need to sit up and do the right thing so that we'll be able to move ahead. And apart from the Kurmunwali abduction, an unspecified number of people were also kidnapped at Kujama. Kujama is in Chukun local government area. Apart from that, a pastor, his wife, and two of their children are also kidnapped from Ngwambusa in Chukun local government area. They are still in captivity. But nobody seems to be talking about this. So we have to be serious. The police need to sit up and do the right thing. This is just the truth. Coming out to deny what has happened, I think, is very illogical. Let's put our acts together and ensure that the right thing is done. But again, the police on one side need to be assisted. The police are suffering from lack of functional equipment. They need equipment to perform. The police, we must know, are not magicians. They don't have sufficient vehicles to even get to where these people are operating. Today is 4 days since the kidnap of the Kajuru people. No news yet about them. The police cannot tell us with certainty that, yes, they've been able to locate or ascertain the position these people are. And if care is not taken, they will move them out of Kaduna, and that will mean more cost on both the state and members of their respective families. So this is why I think we have to sit up and do the right thing. We've been talking for too long. I think this is the right time for us to start taking some action in order to rescue these innocent citizens.
Madam Mohammed Ali, thank you. But I'm just wondering, two very critical people that are supposed to be very close to the people within that community, the local government chairman, the Commissioner for Internal Security. These are people that ought to know. These are people that should have the first-hand information, come out to say nothing of such happened. I mean, how did we get here? How did it happen? What led to the denial in the first place? How is it that the local government chairman didn't know that something had happened until names were produced.
Understand that most of the local government chairmen are not residing within the confines of their local government areas. They are all living right here in Kaduna. So this is why there is this gap. The local government chairman will not know what is really happening in his local government because he is not living in the local government. He's living in Kaduna. He's only chairman of the local government by name, but he's residing in Kaduna. So government needs to take action against such defaulting chairman, because we cannot elect you to be chairman of Kajuru local government, but you are residing in Kaduna town. This is unacceptable. Until government is able to do this, these things will continue to happen. And again, both the local government chairman, the commissioner for internal security, they should stop relying on charlatans who give them fake information. They only tell them what they want to hear. And this is why they were informed, oh no, nothing happened. And they went on air, including the commissioner of police went on air saying there was no kidnap at all. And now that the truth has come, I think it's a shameful act. It is very shameful.
Thank you very much, Malam Mohammed Ali. It's really a shameful act. Dr. Orji, I mean, we are into this conversation, and we know that sometime last year, that's this December, we had these threats by the United States President concerning, a genocide issue in Nigeria, and but they have actually given support to Nigeria security forces to tackle this issue. How do you think this latest happening will further, will it further aggravate this relationship with our foreign partners?
Yes, you see, when there is an arrangement or there is some level of support coming in from outside to help the Nigerian government and things like this happen, first it goes to justify what the other people are saying about Nigeria. Two, it placed Nigeria in a very wrong footing within the international community. And three, it forms a big concern for the populace locally. Now, having said that, I think that going forward, the Nigerian government needs to sit up. The Nigerian government needs to prove to the world that they are truly in charge, that they are truly responsible for security in the country, not relying on external forces or external people to come and help us. Yes, funds will be provided, but those funds should be used for what it should be used for. It is time for us I mean, it's a global village now. It is time for us to deploy technology. It is time for us to, I mean, like they used to say, if all our security agencies are holding hands together, they cannot cover the space called Nigeria. So something needs to be done. Technology needs to be deployed. Why is it that people use mobile phone to make calls after kidnapping and we're not able to trace it? Why is it that people even pay to banks, even pay ransom to banks, and we're not able to trace it?
Because right now we've gathered that, I mean, the kidnappers are asking for 27 million and some vehicles.
Exactly where the point I was going to make.
So how would they, okay.
Exactly the point I was going to make. How would you deliver motorbikes to bandits and you're not able to trace it? How are you able to allow bandits to make phone calls and collect ransom and you're not able to trace those phone calls? And then some of us are afraid that we cannot say certain things on phone. How is it possible that these people drop whatever ransom at certain points and they come and pick it from there and they are not traced? We're talking about 100 and something people. They are not crayfish now. They are not ants. How can you, even if you divide them into 20s, there must be movement. So if we deploy technology, we should be able to, see and know who is moving where. So we need to convince the international community who is coming to help us that we are capable, if we have all this technology, if we can manage our borders, if we can know who is crossing and who is coming in, because, if you cannot manage your internal security, you cannot even manage your borders. We have over 1,500 kilometer open borders in northern Nigeria alone. So it's not something we can do manually right now. We need technology to be able, of course there are ungoverned spaces We cannot deny that. Some forests are ungoverned. And then we have forest guards. I wonder what our forest guards are doing at this point. So we need, like he said, we need to equip our security agencies. How many of you have seen recently some of these police vehicles that are plying in local governments? They can't run 20 kilometers. I must say, they can't run 20 kilometers. I have not seen them these days using some gadgets that will enable them connect to somebody that is more than 100 kilometers away. What happens to all the helicopters we learned were purchased by the Nigerian police not long ago? This should be in the air. The helicopters should be in the air.
The first PRO said, I mean, the helicopter was sent there, it was hovering around to be able to detect where those people...
And has it detected anything? You know, the problem I have is this. The first thing, you know, when we started this conversation, we started talking of denial of an incident that happened. Now, if you deny an incident that happened, it is not strategy. Nobody can convince me that it's strategy.
Okay.
The thing that you need to do is let people know what has happened, and then let people know what you're doing, even if you don't want to tell them what you're doing in detail, because we have had things like we're on top of the situation, where investigation is ongoing and all that. When you tell people that, at least they have a little confidence that something is happening. But for heaven's sake, this is the 21st century. We don't need people carrying unserviceable weapons. We don't need people carrying vehicles that cannot go 10 kilometers. We don't need vehicles that don't have fuel in them. We don't need gadgets that are not functioning. We need functioning gadgets. We need vehicles that can, brand new vehicles that can go. We need equipment. We need satellite equipment. We have NASA or something somewhere. We need helicopters that can go up there. These are the things that we need.
Okay, but
these are the things that we need.
You know, our needs are many. There are so many.
Yes, but if we need to tackle security, this is what we should do.
Yeah.
Security is big business.
Yes. Okay, Dr. Kabir, I'm just wondering. Earlier on, you talked about how these people operate, and when you hear in fact, somebody asked, on a lighter note, how were they able to abduct? Because somebody said, I think a journalist speaking, said maybe there were over 200. Some escaped, so they now have about 177. So how were you able to cut 200 people, not infants, not small, men, women, old, and all that? How were you able to carry them and nobody, undetected? Secondly, do you think there are indicators to probably give us an idea? Since Kaduna has been peaceful for a while, I mean, the governor came out to say, look, even the peace model is being, replicated in some states. Some states are coming to, seek. Yes, exactly. So are there indicators to tell us why this attack happened? Could it be, is there a political statement? Is there a retaliatory measure? Is it a strategic measure? What are we saying in terms of indicators?
First off, it's a bit too early. This incident happened on the 18th of January.
On Sunday.
4 days after the incident. We don't know so much, in the sense that no group as yet has publicly claimed to be responsible. But then we know the threat actors that are active in Kaduna. And if I'm going to hazard a guess, the likelihood is that this abduction was carried out by one of two threat actors, bandits or the terrorist-affiliated groups. The likelihood is that it's bandits, because of occurrences that have happened over the last few weeks. And just like our guest from Kaduna did mention, the developments in Katsina has put neighboring states, the threat level in neighboring states has increased because of what happened.
Negotiations in Katsina?
Yes. Some of the bandit groups that either did not accept the peace deals or accepted the peace deals but have benefited so much from their activities have decided to move out of Katsina. Some of them have gone to Kano, others have moved towards Kaduna, others have moved towards Zamfara and surrounding locations. So that's indicator number 2. Number 3, which with all sense of responsibility I want to mention, the manners that we've handled previous mass abductions.
Okay.
We've engaged with these threat actors, the possibility that we've pandered to their need, and it could be maybe we've given them money, it could be we've released their members who are in captivity, has now given them an indication that if they engage in mass abduction, we would pander to their needs again. Again, if it's ransom, they will pay it. If it's their members that are in custody, we will. So what's going to stop them from carrying out more incidents? Number 3 is the environmental factors. Kajuru is situated close to forested parts. So it's very easy for them to move from, let's say, Katsina as the case may be, or Niger State as the case may be, come there, carry out the abduction they've carried out, go back into the forest, and then disperse quite easily. Because as a date, we still have not put in place a strategy to dominate these forested parts and prevent them from being used for such purposes. After several incidents of mass abduction, we're yet to do that. And then finally, is the failure of intelligence that has been mentioned by Mohammed in Kaduna. The fact that there were indicators suggesting that something like that could happen, and the national security apparatus, we've been discussing the police, but it's not only the police. There are several organizations within that national security apparatus that could have supported surveillance. Because when bandits are moving, they move on motorbikes, and in the minimum, they move about 50 of them. Now, that 50, you will have 3 persons per bike. So we are discussing 150 persons moving in mass. If you have surveillance capabilities, and in today's world, there are so many surveillance options that could be able to detect this number of people moving. Now, that didn't happen. The incident occurred. They went to 3 churches simultaneously in a small community. They carried those people and successfully moved away with them. Some of the survivors have been interviewed, and they've given accounts of how they were herded like cattle into the bush. So surveillance capabilities would have been able to detect that. Now, even if the surveillance capabilities did not pick it up when it was happening, forensic intelligence and investigation would have been able to give us traces of what happened. Again, this is a live incident. I'm mindful of what I say so that we don't jeopardize the investigation.
You've been emphasizing on this forensic and aspect of who is listening to you?
I hope they are. I've been told that sometimes they do. But then the essence of it, we have a national security apparatus, and that national security apparatus have coordinators. You have the Office of the National Security Advisor, you have the Ministers of Defense, Minister of Interior, Minister of Police Affairs, and then you have the presidency. Now, from that point of view of coordination, they are the ones that should be able to make... Look, if we're serious about security, by now, the National Security Council should have been convened. We're talking of 177 citizens. 11 have escaped, and you have about 160 something still in custody. We should be able to convene the National Security Council. And this question you just asked, should the chairman, the president, should be able to ask these ministers and the National Security Advisor, what's going on? Why haven't we instituted a surveillance mechanism that would either prevent or when it does happen, allow us to know who did it and where they are. I've reached a point where the level of frustration is high. The answers are there, the solutions are there. In the course of our conversation, we've identified the challenges. In previous conversations, we put forward solutions. And yet, how many years down the road, those solutions are not being implemented? So back to your question, I think there is a failure of accountability. And unless we change that failure, and the irony, again, I'm speaking with all sense of responsibility, the pressure that the United States government had put on us last year when Trump made that gun a blazing statement, that pressure is still there. let us not forget that this particular incident in Kaduna targeted the core of what he said, which is churches. Now they've given us equipment, quote and unquote. They've carried out a military strike, yet the incident is happening. So he's going to come back. And I think the pressure that he would come back would probably be higher than that.
That's why I asked this question. Are there indicators to give us an insight why this happens? Could it, you know?
There are so many indicators. I mean, I don't want to go into the realm of politics, but that's a possibility. Elections are, you know, we're in the pre-election year. Security is going to be a factor. The possibility that someone facilitated or even encouraged such an attack is there to embarrass the government, as the case may be. But let's not run away from the fact it is the responsibility of our security forces to prevent it from happening. I mean, that's something that we need to hold them to account to. Whether it is a political move to embarrass the government or whether it is just pure criminality, the individuals are interested in just collecting ransom or whatever it is that they want, which is what the responsibility lies on our security forces to prevent it. They haven't prevented it, and I think we need to ask critical questions about accountability. Who is going to be held accountable for allowing that incident to occur?
Critical questions for accountability. Who is going to be held accountable for all these happenings and all these lapses in security? All right, Dr. Adamu, thank you very much. We have some comments here from some of our viewers. I would like to tell our viewers that you can also contribute to this discussion by sending your comment or questions so that our guest in the studio can respond to them. But the few ones that we already have, let's quickly read them out. This one is from James. James is from Jos. James says, I sincerely suggest the DSS, CIB, and other intelligence agencies to step up their constitutional responsibilities instead of the ongoing VIP protection view as greener pasture for the operatives. God bless Federal Republic of Nigeria. I think government has already done something about that, withdrawing their security from all the VIPs. Okay, our communities, this is from Nandom Wiep, as usual, from Jos. Nandom says, our communities deserve better response from security agencies. To the guest in the studio, thank you for your service. God bless Nigeria. Thank you, Nandom. This is from Caleb. Caleb is from Plateau State. It's the issues of abduction. Followers should have security education. Peace and security should be introduced in primary and secondary schools, and community security awareness is also important, which he said is very critical. Then preachers should preach the right values to their members. Okay, thank you very much, Caleb, Ambassador Caleb from Plateau, for that, for your comments. Let's go to Malam Mohammed Ali before we now take Claire's comments. Malam, would you like to respond to some of those comments, and what do you have to say to them?
The gentleman from Josa talked about security education. I think he's saying the right thing. It is very important that the citizenry need to have some level of security awareness with a view to protecting themselves even before help comes in from the security services. And there is also the need for communities to have standing community security committees that will be liaising with the police or other security agencies from time to time as far as their communal safety is concerned. Because if we do have community security committees that will be doing what is supposed to be done, I think we'll go a long way in ending or restricting these occasional acts of abduction here and there. And this will also help us to be able to analyze, identify, and arrest informants, because most of these acts of abduction are not being so successful except of there being informants within the communities. Who are these informants? What have we been able to do to first identify them, and after identifying them, ensure that the long arms of the law takes its rightful course on whoever it is. But the inability of government to allow the law to take its course, I think, is what is increasing and encouraging these acts of lawlessness. Because the failure, crime is to be expected in every human society, but the failure of justice is more dangerous to society than crime itself. So we have to sit up and ensure that the right things are done. We keep talking, giving suggestions every now and then, but little or nothing has been done.
Thank you very much. Let me quickly also read out my messages. And the first one is from Chris Simeon. No, okay, this is from Reverend Nathan Dada Madaki from Jaws. I strongly believe that the executive, legislative, and judiciary arms of government must rise to their responsibilities at this critical time in our nation's history. That's from Reverend Nathan Dada Madaki from Jaws. Thank you. Good morning, presenters. Good morning, Nigerians. Let's keep Kaduna safe and stop unnecessary denials. Let's keep sentiments aside and protect our land. This is from Chris Simeon. The Kajuru abduction is another clear indicator that most public officials, for reasons well known to them, are not doing their jobs. Yusuf Abdul from Zaria. Abbas Abubakar Saeed from Jalingo in Taraba State says, with regard to today's topic, I think there is a significant trust deficit between leaders and the people, as well as between security agencies and the people, due to several reasons. And he gives those reasons based on his experience in Maiduguri during the peak of Boko Haram insurgency. He said people in affected areas often know those who are involved in all of these, abductions, but are reluctant to provide information about them. Therefore, he says, leaders need to be close to their people, show them that they truly represent them, not the other way around. And I think this is the very point that Malam Muhammad Ali in Kaduna, emphasized earlier on, gentlemen, about, the statements coming from the two very people that the communities are supposed to, liaise. But Dr. Kabir, you mentioned something I think that we must begin to look at. The negotiation that happened in Katsina and the, what we call spillover effect in other neighboring countries. Now, when you negotiate with these people, what happens is that they probably would leave your territory, but hunt in other territory. I mean, Dr. Oji, is this a form? Is negotiation now a form of financing terrorism? Because when you negotiate, it's give and take.
When you negotiate with bandits or kidnappers or whoever they are, you're giving them more leverage. The bottom line is we have to find a strategy to take them off our territory. I find it difficult when we talk about forests. These forests, are they like continents that we cannot, find a way to, circulate, to comb them, and see how we can flush these people out of those forests and ensure that they don't come back to those forests. I know that they have, for instance, in my experience, I know that there are some border areas where it's only a rope separating Nigeria from the next country, like in Shaki, in Oyo State.
Even in Niger.
Yes. If you go to Katsina State and you cross the border and you go to, I've forgotten the name, Dan Isa, for instance. If at the moment you cross the Nigerian side and you can speak Hausa, you're at home. So these bandits take advantage of that. They stay within those communities. And don't forget also, like my brother here mentioned, the people at those border areas are also watching and having a feeling of government deficit. And if they don't have government presence within them, these bandits also take advantage of that. There are things they do in those communities. You remember a case of in Lagos where a particular community were fighting the Nigerian Customs Service to protect some people who ran into their community who were actually gun runners. So when you see these kind of things happening...
In fact, let me just pause there. I mean, there was a recent video that went viral that, I mean, some of the communities were taking pictures with all these bandits. You know, just to, you know,
yes, exactly. Because the bandits will come there, dash them certain things, make them feel like they are all one.
They are the one protecting them.
Exactly, they are the ones protecting them at the end of the day. Now, government need to take charge. No, we need to replace that with government attention, with facilities, with infrastructure that will make people feel a sense of belonging to the country, and loyalty to the country as against loyalty to bandits and kidnappers and gun runners and all miscreants across board. But more importantly, I think it is time for the country to move ahead, like I mentioned earlier, issues of equipment, issues of technology and all that, so that we can I want to repeat myself because I don't know who is listening. These forests we are talking about, what is the size of this forest? Why is it difficult for us to comb this forest one after the other? One after the other. We were talking about Sambisa Forest. From Sambisa Forest, we're talking about another forest in Plateau, in Katsina, in all sorts of places. Let the security agencies comb this forest one after the other and see how we can flush these people out from those forests. And then, more importantly, if they leave our country, make sure that they don't come back into our country by placing things across those borders that make sure that we know when people are coming in and be able to counter them.
Okay. You know, we did say that the two topics we have this morning are interrelated. In fact, you know, the abduction in Kaduna and, of course, curbing terrorism financing. And that's why I brought up the issue of negotiation. Because when you negotiate with either bandits or terrorists, you understand, it's either, see, we give you this in return for this. And then when you give bandits or terrorists whatever they ask for, you empower them.
Exactly.
And that is, yes, you give them, you know, the capacity to be able to either procure, you know, engage, whatever, expand their base, at least to be more active. And that's part of the you know, terrorism financing that we're talking about.
But I must say, in Katsina, there is no evidence that financial payments were made. I'm very specific, Katsina. As at today, about
but there was dialogue.
There was engagement, and I would mention what was agreed, quote and unquote. In most instances, the agreement was, in the case of the bandits, they will ask for medical facilities, maybe a clinic to be built for them, access to market, opportunity for their cattle to graze, and then schools for the communities where they reside. There was no mention of payment. However, it's instructive to note that all of these things I've mentioned will require money for if it's a construction of school. But then what we've heard is that the monies will not be given to them, but local government chairmen, for instance, would now be the ones to build the schools. In the case of the government, from what we're hearing, the request from the government to these bandits is usually to stop their attacks. That's what we're hearing. In the case of Katsina, however, some of the federal driven engagements, such as what happened in Papiri, it wasn't the state government that engaged with the threat actors. It was, you know, an organization from at the federal level that engaged with them. We don't know the details of that engagement, unlike in the case of the Katsina state engagement. This is what became public. So, if what we're hearing that has not yet been confirmed is true, that there was some exchange in terms of prisoner exchange, in terms of payment of money to them, then that is the danger, because that incentivizes further criminality. On the other hand, it also empowers them. If you give a criminal money, he's going to buy more weapons.
I like to pause you on this note, because you just brought us to the point where we take a break, we come back, and then we just
before we take a break, we'd like to thank Malam Mohammed Ali, because we gathered that he has to leave now. We want to thank you for your contribution on this discussion. Thank you so much for your contribution. All right, we'll take a break now. When we return, the conversation will continue. We'll talk about terrorism financing, which we delved into yesterday, and the conversation continues. Stay with us.
The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI presents the RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow. This national competition is in 3 categories. The household category is a tree planting competition amongst 11 frontline states in northern Nigeria. Each participating household in Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara states will plant a minimum of 1 tree to qualify, with a video evidence of before and after the tree planting exercise. 20 million naira will be awarded to the best household. Submission deadline is 20th December 2026. Community category will see local governments, local communities, schools, and NGOs reclaim and transform degraded or abandoned areas such as dump sites, landfills, parks, and their likes into green, vibrant gardens, parks, and eco-friendly spaces. 50 million naira would be awarded to the overall best community group. Deadline for submission is 15th July 2026. State category will have all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, excluding Enugu State, have a chance to address the growing threats to environmental sustainability and cleanliness. States will be judged based on the number of trees planted on major roads and inner streets and how clean they are. 100 million naira will be awarded to the best performing state. Already, Enugu State has 100 million naira for being RHI's model green state due to its greenery and cleanliness. Video evidence must be submitted by participating states on or before 20th December 2026. All entries must be directed to RHI Office, State House, Abuja, or email rhi.greenchallenge@statehouse.gov.ng. RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow.
Let's believe in ourselves. Let's have the right attitude. We've got all it takes to get there. Let's look inwards and revive all our infrastructures and galvanize our human and material resources. Nigerians, believe in yourselves, Believe we can succeed. Nigeria, believe. Powered by National Orientation Agency.
All right, thank you for staying with us. This is still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Our discussion is still on the abduction of the worshippers in Kaduna and financing terrorism, which we started yesterday. Our guests are still here, and also our Kaduna guest is still there too, Malam Mohammed Ali. Okay, we gather that he has left. Now let's get back to our studio here. Now we're talking about this issue of terrorism financing. I mean, how do we manage this issue? Because right now it's been difficult for government to be able to place their hands on those behind these, you know. They have accused the telecoms, they have accused the financial sectors, the banks, and all that. So, how do we tackle this challenge, actually, Dr. Adam?
I mean, first off is to acknowledge that we've made progress over the years, and that is reflected in our recent removal from the grey list of the Financial Action Task Force. And of course, this happened last year in 2025, and then in this year already, the EU has also removed us from de-risked us as it were. So those are progress that we've made. And for us to achieve this, there were several steps that we had to take. I think about a couple of elements were listed that the Nigerian Intelligence Financial NFIU worked with other government departments to ensure that we meet those criteria, and we've now been removed from that list. But it's work in progress, which kind of relates to your question. If we go back to the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act, it recognizes the need to address this issue of terrorism financing. Not so many organizations in Nigeria are even compliant with the provisions of that law. And I think that's perhaps the place to start. As an example, first off, you're supposed to sign up on the SCUML, which is being run by EFCC. Now, when you sign up, there are certain criteria that you are supposed to meet. Reporting monthly, and that report compels you to do certain things. So you are issuing a contract as an example. Let me use NTA as an example. You are issuing a contract for, let's say, your gate to be installed. Before you award that contract, you are supposed to look at the sanctions list and make sure the vendor that you are awarded that contract to is compliant. In other words, first off, he's registered with SCUML. He or she, or as a vendor, is not listed as part of terrorism financing organizations. Now, how many of us in Nigeria actually do that? The other part is the regulatory aspect. Does the EFCC has the capacity, for instance, to ensure compliance? The answer, unfortunately, is no. So it's work in progress. Number two is the shadow economy that exists in Nigeria. I know this administration has attempted to incorporate that shadow economy as part of the formal economy. But sadly, anyone who operates, especially in the rural community, knows that shadow economy is thriving. In fact, even in Abuja here, that the shadow economy is still thriving. You hear instances of purchase of houses that is being paid in cash. You also hear, luxury vehicles of millions of naira being paid in cash. So that shadow economy is still there. And as long as that shadow economy exists and, operates, you would still have instances of first money laundering and then terror financing. Number three is our financial sector. There is still a huge vulnerability that remains. This issue of contract staff. Most of our financial organizations still have almost about 70% of their workforce as contract staff. In some instances, even higher than 70%. And that's a vulnerability because it's something that can be exploited. If you have a contract staff that you are paying peanuts, as it were, the loyalty of that staff to you as an employer is really limited. And that allows that staff to several vulnerabilities. He or she can be incentivized And once he or she is incentivized, it leaves you vulnerable. Certain things can occur.
But these are very remote causes. Triggers, I should say.
Yeah, but then let's even look at this aspect of know your customer, KYC, that banks are supposed to, you know, ensure compliance with. If today you open, and most of us here have opened accounts, how many of us, let's be truthful to ourselves, you indicate an address and sometimes they tell you to bring your water bill or other aspects. Does the bank really take that extra measure to ensure that the information you've provided is correct? So when you put all of these things together that I've mentioned, this is why our vulnerability continues to remain and why terror financing would remain an issue in Nigeria. There are certain countries, and I'm mindful of the fact that we're in the public space, so I don't want to mention exact names, but there are certain countries today in Nigeria that you work for, and then when they're paying you, they call somebody in Lagos or somebody in Enugu or somebody in Kano and tell the person to pay you. So that same country or organization, as the case may be, imagine if they want to finance terrorism. They already have individuals through these informal networks that they can ask monies to be released to. So those are the kind of gaps. We need to put them all together to get a picture of why it's easy, for instance, for terror financing to continue to take place.
Okay, we're glad to have Mohammed Ali back. Madam Ali, thank you for returning. Please just hold on. We'll come back to you in a moment. Let me just ask Dr. Oji, because when we talk about terror financing, we seem to restrict our searchlight to what's happening either in the northern part of the country, in the northeast, northwest, north central, and all that. Yesterday on this program, we had a conversation on what, the magnitude of the problem, the loopholes, the weaknesses and gaps. And, yes, the telecom, came, the guests came hard on the telecom system, our identity infrastructure system and all that. But most importantly was the issue about people making some form of payment to some, terrorist cells in the southeast that still go unnoticed. And we thought that in that part of the country, huge, money is spent financing, the kind of terror that go on there.
And it's a must.
Yes.
They will have to contribute.
Yes, denying funds to non-state actors is key to dismantling the templates from which terrorism draws inspiration. But you see, these things are not in black and white like you and I will always say. They have various ways and methods of providing finances for terrorism. It's not just about bank transfers. You can search for bank transfers and you will not see any evidence that there was any such transfers. It comes in terms of equipment. Have we investigated those people who have been caught importing weapons into Nigeria? Because that could be key to understanding how these terrorists operate and how they get their weapons. Because the major thing, the primary tool of bandits, terrorists, whatsoever, is arms. That's the primary tool that they use. So if we're able to understand where their sources of weapons are coming from, you will be able to understand their sources of financing. Somebody can import vehicles, put them in stands, and sell. And from the back door, there was a time the government went after bureau de change operators, believing that some bureau de change operators contribute to terrorism financing. That is okay. It's good to put tabs on these people, just like we keep saying, intelligence, gather intelligence around these people, know the kind of money they move, who they move it to, and all that. But it doesn't end with money transfer. It could go beyond money, equipment, importation of things that will divert attention. Somebody can import tractors, for instance, sell the tractors, and still spend the money locally.
Isn't this part that you raised about tracking arms, sources of arms, where they come from and where they go, where they get to the hands? Isn't this part of the responsibility of NATCOM, that is domiciled under in the office of the National Security Advisor. You were a former manager of Prescom. Prescom dovetailed into NATCOM, and now we have the NAT Center. Yeah. Now, what is NAT Center doing about this? Because this is also part of, checking, illicit use of funds to finance terrorism.
The National Center on Small Arms and Light Weapons, domiciled in the Office of the National Security Advisor. In recent times, I've coordinated some activities with them, and I know clearly that they have been, they have an intelligence unit, they have an operations unit, and these units have been really doing a lot in terms of gathering intelligence on importation and exportation of weapons, working with the Nigerian customs to ensure that they get information about who is importing what. That's why they have been able to identify some importers of small arms and actually arrested some of them. I think last year there were about 3 or 4 arrests of huge numbers of weapons coming into the country. But you see, I'm still interested in coming back to this issue of how these people get their funding. Yeah. Because beyond, it takes somebody who has more than 100 million to be able to import. In fact, the last one on a port was about 2.something billion worth of the small arms and light weapons that were recovered in that particular operation, just one operation.
Dr. Ajay, I will plead with you to please hold your thoughts, because Mohammed Ali in Kaduna, we need to quickly engage with him.
We want to engage him, but we want him to respond to some of these comments that have come in, which I think, this one says, good morning, and the excellent discussion about the security situation in the country, in particular, Kaduna abduction. I hope the government is taking notes for appropriate implementation of the recommendations therein. I hope the abductors' aim is not to embarrass the Minister of Defense, being his constituency. There is the need to extend the searchlight in this direction. Best wishes. This from Engineer Bello Muhammad. This one is from Kayode Busari. He says, many thanks to NTA for always coming up with spot-on discussions every time. Many thanks for the invited guest, more particularly the gentleman. This worrisome terrorism and kidnapping in the country becomes more rampant and unabated is due to conspiracy and politically motivated. Many unscrupulous political elites across region and states of the Federation always conspired together in recent time to demarket rubbish and make governance difficult for the succeeding government for their political gain and manipulation of voters. Okay, let me just take this last one by Dr. Omoniyi Emmanuel. He said, in a nutshell, the federal government should take a decisive decision to deal brutally with anyone caught either as bandit, terrorist, or abductors. Each community should be tactically empowered to protect their environment in collaboration with the law enforcement agencies in the country. Malam Muhammad Ali, you would like to respond to some of these comments?
Thank you very much. The gentleman that talked about the constituency of the Minister of Defense, I wish to remind him that being the Nigerian Minister of Defense, Nigeria in its entirety is his constituency, not Kajuru or Chukun local government as it were. And more so, he's not from Kajuru or Chukun, he's from Zongwanket of local government, which is in Zone 3 of Kaduna State. But for your information, the minister, the entire country is his constituency, not Southern Kaduna. That is one. The issue of people trying to pull in politics into it, we cannot, of course, outweigh the chances of people trying to take chances, because 2027 is around the corner. In the not distant future, campaigns will start. So people will start, making some permutations here and there, and security will certainly play a central role by the time it comes to campaigning and issues like that. But be that as it may, we need to sit up, do the needful, and ensure that nobody takes us for a ride. We should be able to work in consonance with all security agencies. We need to be passing credible and actionable intelligence to members of the security services, because as I kept saying, these security services, they are not magicians. They work on information, and this information needs to be credible. So please, let's cooperate. Everybody, security is a collective responsibility. Everybody has a role to play. So let us work together and ensure that we keep Nigeria safe, not just Kaduna State.
Sorry, please. Follow up on that, the cooperation. I want you to talk especially the cooperation between the communities and the security forces. With this latest development, do you see any breach of trust?
I wouldn't say there is a breach of trust, but the truth remains. Like in Kajuru local government, how many are the total number of police personnel in the division? This is a fundamental question. There is inadequacy as far as the issue of personnel is concerned. There is inadequacy as far as implements is concerned. There is also the need for mobility. When you don't have all these things in place, how can you have a proactive security machinery? So these are the things we need to know. We need to do. So the Police Service Commission, the Police Trust Fund need to sit up and ensure that policemen are properly and adequately equipped and funded before they can really do what is expected of them. But where that is not done, I think we still have a long way to go. And again, I wish to use this opportunity to appeal to His Excellency Governor Obasani to give standing instructions to all local government chairmen. Any local government chairman that is no more interested in remaining and living in his local government should resign. Because when you are local government chairman of Kajuru, but you are living in Kaduna South, how would you be able to know what is happening 24 hours down the line in your local government? If you leave on Friday, you will not come back until maybe when you are told that grants have hit the account. Then that is when you go, pay salaries, take your own, and you disappear. You won't come back again until 2 weeks or 3 weeks after. What sort of thing is that? Is that why they are elected? So government has to also call all the local government chairmen to order, because when leadership is not really leading, then anything can happen. And this is exactly what has happened in Kajuru and Chukwu local government areas.
Absolutely. Well said, Malam Mohammed Ali. Please, if you could take just 60 seconds so that we can come back to the studio and wrap up. And my thought is this. It's about, the issue, what happened in Katsina and the overflow and what has happened in Kaduna. And it's with regards to financing terror. They say if you don't supply the engine with fuel, it won't start. If you don't give these people, whether bandits or terrorists or whatever, whether IPOB or Boko Haram or ISWAP, if they don't have money, they can't buy, or they won't be able to buy motorbikes, they won't be able to buy all the things they need, they won't be able to refuel. So how do you think negotiating with these people, will stop or curtail or eliminate terrorism? Do you think it will, or do you think it will further aggravate it and draw us back?
Dealing with bandits in order to end the recurrence of banditry and kidnapping is possible, but we have to do it in accordance with the law. There's what we call DDR, disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration. In the process of that, not a penny will be given to anybody. This is important. And apart from in the process of disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration, you also have to collect all their arms. Previous governments negotiated and arranged reconciliation and issues like that. They paid money to some of these bandits, but they did not collect their arms. By the time the money was finished, they went back to the trenches. So for this reason, it is not proper for anybody to negotiate with a bandit and give him money. What Kabir said is what is desirable. Let there be schools for their children, clinics for them, and also potable drinking water for themselves and their animals. If this is done, they have no reason not to abide by what government wants. If you go into the forest where they live, some of them are living in subhuman existence because of the kind of condition they are made to live under. So our local government chairmen and governors need to sit up. All the money they are getting, let them put the money and ensure that it is put to use for the benefit of everybody. That way.
Thank you very much, Malam Mohammed Ali. We know that you are very passionate about what you are talking about. Likewise, every other person here in the studio. Thank you so much. Because of our time, we'd just like to end the conversation on this note. Okay, you just...
Yes, okay, let me start to thank Mohammed Ali, who's a security expert who joined us from Kaduna studio. Thank you, Malam Mohammed Ali. Thank you for your position. And of course, Dr. Kabir Adamu, always a pleasure to have you with us. And we've not done with this topic. I'm sure we'll be calling you again. Dr. Oji Dixon, thank you as always. I'd like to thank all of you. I could not read your messages. The one from Mohammed Shehu, Abdusalami from Ilorin, and also this other one, it has no name, but thank you. All your messages have been dealt with. That's why I couldn't take them. I am Claire Adelabu Abdurrazak. I'll see you tomorrow.
Amadi Maladi, thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day.